All right, hi everybody. Mr. Schwarman here. I'm going to be making a video talking about HTML, showing you a few things along with what you're going to be doing for this assignment. So first of all, what is HTML? Well, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And what it is the language that tells websites basically what to look like. So anytime you've ever been on the internet using a website, someone wrote in HTML coding language that tells the website, well, what should it look like? Even this website that I'm on now is built on HTML. Google Docs is built on HTML, telling everything what it should be looking like. And so this website that I've got linked here, this W3 Schools, is a really good one for learning. On the left here, we see this big long list of all these different things, tutorials about HTML they'll teach you about. We're not going to go through all of it. That would be a lot, but it's a great place to learn. We're going to see some basic stuff. What they have that's really nice too is this built-in editor. So if I click this Try It Yourself button, it'll take me to a new window where on the left I have HTML code. This is what it looks like, and we'll talk about it soon. And on the right, this is the HTML output. So if this was an HTML code, this is the website over here that it would generate. And this is really nice because you can practice. I can change my first heading to maybe, my first heading about Mr. Foreman's cool class. And now nothing's changed over here yet. But if I click run, it runs, and now the heading has changed. So everything that was in this, and these little guys with these little angle brackets, these are called tags. So I've got an H1 tag here to an H1 closing tag over here. Everything in that H1 tag shows up as a heading. And so the best way you're going to learn is by kind of practicing, trying stuff like that. And that's what this does. You kind of walk through it. This here explains what all those tags are doing. Doc type HTML at the beginning tells the website, hey, this is an HTML file. The HTML element basically says everything within this, this is the open tag all the way to the close tag. Everything within those tags is HTML. And then here's, head. Everything within this head is the heading. And then here's the body. Everything within this body is here. So there are these nested layers of tags. So this website is great for learning and can practice stuff in here. But what you're also going to be doing for this assignment is making your own HTML file. And you can practice it in here, but eventually you're going to make the actual file type. There's a few ways you can do that. So I'm going to open the Notepad app. This is like a default Windows app. Everyone's got this. This is, a basic text editor, but unlike something, like Google Docs or Microsoft Word, you'll see there's not really any, text, italics, font size, text to columns, any of that fun stuff, because this is not for making Word documents. It's literally just for typing text. Gotta close this pop-up. Sorry, guys. So for instance, if we take the sample text I gave you, select that all, Control C to copy, delete all this, and then Control V to paste. That is in here. I'm going to go File, Save As. I'm going to give it a name. I'll call it My First Website. And see, the file extension it's doing is .text. But I want my computer to know it's an HTML, so I'm going to put .html. And by doing this right here, saving it with an HTML file extension, now when I click Save, I'm going to minimize because I just saved that to my desktop. You'll see that on my desktop. And that is, get you out of here, right here at the bottom of my desktop. And you see it says that My First Website, and it's got the Google Chrome icon because since I gave it an HTML file type, it knows, oh, this is like a website. So if I double click this, it'll open it, and it should open in Chrome. And it does. You'll see here, instead of like a URL like www dot, this is actually the file path. See users, Thomas Foreman desktop, My First Website. And this is sort of a similar thing. Now what's cool is I can change this and I can add, say, another paragraph. This is a paragraph all about how to throw a frisbee. I used to play ultimate frisbee in college. I love frisbee. I'll teach you guys someday. And I have an open tag and a close tag, and now I can save this, Control F to S to save, or File Save. And now here nothing's changed, but if I refresh it, boom, there's that second paragraph. So all you have to do is make a text file, save it with an HTML file extension, and that's a website. That's literally what a website is. All this stuff up here, the URL, is just to say, well, go navigate to the computer that has that file on it. Another thing that I'll just show you very briefly that's nice, that exists, is there's an app called Notepad++. Notepad++ is a lot like Notepad, a text editor, but it looks a little nicer. So if I Control C, copy all that, and I Control V, paste here, and I go File, Save As, and we'll save it same place. Actually, you know what I want to do first? Language. I'm going to tell it, I forgot about that, this is HTML. Because you can do all sorts of different coding in Notepad++. And what's nice is now that I told it this is an HTML file, it kind of highlights, see that HTML tag, when I click this one shows up, and that head tag, and it highlights. So it helps me organize. So for a bigger website, this can sometimes be easier to navigate. You can also, like, if I don't care about this head, you can collapse it, or you can re-expand it if you need to. So this is a nice thing, and this is all the same stuff. I would save this as an HTML file, and here, I'll show you. In fact, I'll add another paragraph. This one, and you can see stuff is kind of popping up. It's trying to guess what I want. There's just all these features built in. Is about how I was made in Notepad++, and paragraph, boom. Now I'm gonna save this. We'll go save as, give it a name, and I'll save it in the same place you see on my desktop. My second website, let's call it site, and I'll click save. And now I'll do the same thing. I'll minimize everything, and I'll go my second website over here, open you up in Chrome. It's the same thing, right? But now I have this paragraph. So different ways of making HTML files. And then HTML files are what are going to show up as websites. So, long explanation to say what you all are going to be doing for this assignment is doing that. Practicing in W3 schools, practicing in Notepad, whatever have you, and making a website that fits at least these characteristics. And, I encourage you, stretch your brain, do as much as you can. See if you can add this stuff. And I'll say most of this is pretty early in the tutorial. If I go back to here, you're going to see most of this, by like paragraphs and styles, You're not going to have to go like all the way down here. But you can learn as much as you want if there's stuff you want to do. This is a lot of fun. I really like this. I hope you enjoy it too, and I hope this helps you get started.